Welcome to Rhonda here with Foods 101. Today I'm showing you how to make this Italian lemon pound cake. Absolutely delicious for the spring and summer seasons. The ingredients you're going to need is a half a cup of whole buttermilk, 3 cups of all-purpose flour, 2 cups of granulated sugar, 1/2 cup of sour cream, 1 teaspoon of freshly grated ginger root. This is optional. The zest of 1 lemon, 1/4 teaspoon of salt, 1 teaspoon of baking powder, 1 teaspoon of pure vanilla extract, 4 tablespoons of fresh lemon juice, 1 cup of unsalted butter at room temperature, and 3 eggs. For the glaze part, you're going to need 1.5 cups of powdered sugar and 3 tablespoons of freshly squeezed lemon juice. Let me show you how simple and easy this is to make. In a bowl, I'm adding my all-purpose flour with the baking powder and the salt. Give these 3 ingredients a lovely little stirring with a whisk. And then you can set this off to the side. For the ginger root, if you decide to use it, this isn't really necessary, but it's gonna take it to a whole new level of flavor. I'm using a spoon and I'm gonna remove the skin on the outside of that ginger. With a microplane, grate that ginger root. You see that? We're looking for 1 teaspoon. Once you get your teaspoon of grated ginger, you can set this off to the side. I'm using my stand mixer to make the cake. I'm gonna add a cup of sugar here into the bottom, add my room temperature butter. This way that butter won't stick to the bottom of your bowl and it'll make it a lot easier to incorporate the sugar with the butter. Once you get all your butter in here, add the rest of your sugar. With a paddle attachment, I'm gonna bring up the mixer and we're going to start blending our butter with our sugar. Start low and then you can turn up your speed. This will take a few minutes. When it's looking like this, I'm gonna go ahead and add 1 egg in at a time. Oops! Well, I ended up adding 2, but that's okay. And we'll continue mixing. I've got my KitchenAid on number 4 and we'll just go ahead and use that last egg. Sure you get what's down in the bottom here of your bowl. You want to do this occasionally. At this point, we're going to turn the mixer down low and we're going to add that lemon juice along with that zest of ginger if you're going to use it, your vanilla extract, and I'm going to turn it off to add my sour cream. Let's move it over. Make sure you get it off your spatula. We'll continue mixing this until it's well blended. Be sure to scrape down the sides of your bowl so you can get all your ingredients very well incorporated. I'm adding half the flour mixture, spoonful at a time. That's about half. Make sure you can no longer see the flour, and then we can add the buttermilk. All right, I'm gonna stop it so I can scrape down the sides of the bowl. This is very important when you're learning how to bake. Now we can add all the buttermilk at once and continue spooning in the rest of the flour mixture. I just got a big whiff of that lemon and that buttermilk. To make sure I can add all my flour in, I put it right here on some wax paper. That way it's not gonna get on my mixer, and I'm gonna make sure it's all incorporated into this Italian lemon pound cake. Be sure to stop to scrape down the sides of your bowl. All right, that looks fantastic. I am baking my cake here into a 12-cup tube pan. Here's my tube pan that I've greased and floured very generously. Very important because you don't want your cake sticking. I take a little of this Italian lemon pound cake and add it evenly here into my tube pan. At this point, you want your oven preheated to 325 degrees Fahrenheit. Oh, this is going to be so scrumptious. Look how luscious and delicious that batter is. You know it's going to be lovely and moist. When you get all your cake batter in here, you're going to go around and just smash it down so you're not going to have any air bubbles. And another thing to do is tap it. Another great trick is to use a butter knife and go around to make sure you don't have any air bubbles here in your cake batter. And that looks fantastic. And then again, we're going to tap it And this is off to that preheated oven on the middle rack for the next hour and 10 to 20 minutes. Use your timer and no peeking. Here's our baked Italian lemon pound cake, and it smells absolutely fantastic. Now to check if it's completely done, because this baked for an hour and 20 minutes, we insert a toothpick. That toothpick comes out clean, so it's completely baked. If you would have had a little cake batter on there, you would have baked it for another 5 to 8 minutes. I'm gonna let it cool here in the pan for 5 minutes. After 5 minutes, you're gonna loosen up the edge of your pound cake here from its pan. I like using these little cheap plastic knives. It doesn't scrape up your pans, and it does an excellent job at loosening your cake away from the edge of the pan. Make sure you go in the center, and you want to keep that knife really super close to your pan. That way you won't cut into your cake. We're gonna jiggle our cake. I can see that it's loose from the bottom. Get it out. We're gonna take our cooling rack. Pan's still a little warm, and we're gonna flip it upside down, and it should come right out of its pan. And there it is, our lovely Italian lemon pound cake, and it smells fabulous. I'm gonna transfer this over to a serving plate. So I'm gonna add it right here to the bottom in the center and flip it again. And I've got it here on my serving plate. Now it's time to add that lemon glaze. Add your powdered sugar into a nice medium-sized bowl with that lemon juice. With the whisk, we're going to make this lovely lemon glaze that is going to be so silky, fantastic, and delicious on the top of this lemon pound cake. Now, if it's a little too thick, add a little bit more lemon juice, like I'm doing right here. It's about a teaspoon. You don't want to add too much because it can get really super runny very quickly when you're working with powdered sugar. And make sure you get the edge. That looks like the perfect consistency we need for the top. I'm going to drizzle the glaze over this fresh, warm cake. I like using my whisk, but if you want to use a spoon, you may do that too. This is going to be absolutely fantastic, and I can't wait to dig in and tell you what it tastes like. Let it just drizzle and run all the way down the sides of your cake. I'm gonna let this sit up for about 15 minutes. It's still super duper warm. Let's see what it looks like on the inside. Oh my yums. Look at that. Look at that glaze. Here, we're gonna give it a try. Wow. Still warm. I was gonna add a little lemon zest here to the top of the cake. If you want to do that, you can. I just forgot. Lovely, moist. Look at that. How it springs right back. Ooh, that tad bit of ginger. It makes you think, what is that fantastic, addictive flavoring? You're gonna love this Italian lemon pound cake. So nice, moist, and rich in flavors. I'm Dorana with Foods 101. Give me thumbs up. Looky here. Leave me a comment. Hit that notification bell to be the first to get my new YouTube food videos. Thanks a million for watching. Stay safe, and I'll catch you lovely people later.